If you are still struggling, manifesting your desires, changing your life, changing the way you are, the way you feel, this video is for you. As I always said, manifesting is simple. However, it is not always easy. But the reason why it's not easy, that reason is called the head, the mind, the ego mind that keeps going the other way. In other words, you know what you want, or I hope at least that you know what you want. You have a specific desire or desires. And maybe you've tried many different techniques. Maybe you have affirmed until you were exhausted. Maybe you have imagined, visualized your desire fulfilled. But weeks and months later, you are still at the same spot. You still don't have your desire. You still are the same. You still feel the same. And if this is you, you're not alone. As a matter of fact, in this community, there are many people watching videos such as mine who are struggling to change their lives. But really, the reason you are is because you are, and you keep doing this, putting your mind in the middle. You know, when Neville said, don't mess with the middle, that's really what he was talking about, right? Don't mess with the middle. What is it that messes with the middle? The mind, the logical, rational mind. Unfortunately, your logical, rational mind is not your friend when you are manifesting your desire using the law, using the I am, using spiritual law that creates world. And why your mind is not your friend? You have been brainwashed since day one within a society, no matter where you were born. It is still within a society that is pretty much asleep, right? Neville said we were born to learn who we truly are. But the challenge is that we were born in a world full of disbelief in the law, in spiritual law, in the law that creates world. We were born with the limitations to no end. So we have no problem creating with the mind all kind of limitations, all kind of limiting beliefs, all kind of problems. We have no problem doing that. As a matter of fact, someone asked me recently, what do I do when my logical mind, my negative logical mind gets in the way to manifest my desire? The best thing to do is to what I call let go and let God, which is not a sentence from me. It's actually in scripture, right? Let go and let God means let go of your ego self. Let go of your avatar. Let go of this character that you are playing in this life. And let God mean let your highest self, your higher self, your God self, your I am take over. The best way to do this, and this is a way that I use to this day, it's that internal prayer, so to speak, you can call it whatever you want, that I said to myself, which is, be still and know that I am God. So let me describe this sentence for you. If you don't understand it, maybe once you understand it, you'll be more eager to use it. Be still means the mind, right? Let the ego mind, the human mind be still, meaning relax. Stop overthinking. Stop getting in the way. Stop moving. Be still. Relax. Calm down. Stop. Stop going places. be still, and know that I am God. That the I am that you are within your true self is God. And if you are offended with the word God, well, too bad. And I'm not making fun of you, but really, the only reason you are offended by this word, it's because another indoctrination, another brainwashing of the mind that society created, it's that you are linking that word, God, with an external God that is judging you, and that is what? Related to religions. But think about it. Neville used the word God all the time. But at the same time, he made fun of religions. So if the word God was related to religions, and if it was related to religions for him, how come he used the word God and at the same time would make fun sometimes of religions and religious leaders, right? Because he understood that there's nothing wrong with the word God. The only thing that is wrong is what people think about it when they say the word or when they think the word. But remember one thing, very important as a conscious manifestor to remember. Nothing has meaning but the meaning you give it. So stop giving wrong meaning on top of it to things that don't even mean that. So if you are offended with the word God, therefore it will be hard for you to use that very calming and effective sentence that when you say it within, it's really like a meditation that you can practice while you are aware and awake. I was traveling very recently, and as I was walking around in that big city I was in, I was repeating this sentence quite a bit as I was walking around because I am aware that in a big city there are all kind of energies. Some energies can be more or less positive, and I wanted to center myself and not be affected in a negative way by whatever was going on around me because I was around a lot of people and I'm not really someone who likes that. So I was saying to myself quite a bit as I was walking around within myself, be still and know that I am God. So now let's go to a very simple way to manifest anything that you want. When it comes to doing something, many of you ask me, what should I do? The only thing you have to do is imagine and feel that you are the person who already is who you want to be. Or ask yourself what you want. When people came up to Neville with their problems, the one question he asked them was this: what do you want? Like, stop telling me your story. Tell me what you want. That's all I want to know. And they would tell him, right? I want this, I want that. Okay. He said, tonight, before you go to sleep, fall asleep as that person or create a scene that implies that you already have what you want to have. That's all. Create a scene because believe it or not, before you fall asleep, you must be falling asleep with some type of scenario in your mind, but you're doing it unconsciously. So at the end of the day, you don't even know what you fell asleep with. So why not control what you are falling asleep with, right? Create a scene that implies that you are the person who already has their desire. Let's say you want a car. You want even a specific car. Well, imagine this car very specifically. Take note of all the details, as many details as you can about the car from the outside and the inside of the car. Imagine yourself opening the door, getting in the car, smell the car, right? There is a particular smell in new cars. It smells different than an old car. Touch the steering wheel. How does it feel in your hands? And also use the visual. Look at whatever is visible in front of you in the car as you hold the steering wheel. And then turn the car on and hear how does it sound? And then drive off. Drive your car for a few minutes and fall asleep within that sensation. You don't need to feel overly excited. This is one mistake that many people are making when they are imagining a scene. They feel overly excited. I never feel overly excited when I imagine a wish fulfilled. I just feel it normal. Like if I want to hear someone healed, I don't jump up and down. I just hear them telling me that they are healed. That's all. I hear them and I say, wow, that's great. That's wonderful. I don't overreact. So you don't have to overreact while you are driving your new car. You don't have to overreact while you are on a date with your SP. You don't have to overreact whatsoever, whatever your desire is. Be the person who just has the thing and feels normal about it. Remember another thing that Neville taught. He said, when I say feel, I don't mean emotions, right? Feeling that you are rich, for example, doesn't mean that you are super happy and excited like you're a poor person who just won the lottery. This is not how rich people feel. Feeling that you are rich, it's a natural feeling. It's the feeling of knowing that you are rich, right? It has nothing to do with emotion. And the same goes for SP, for health, or for anything else that you want to manifest. Feeling it real doesn't mean being emotional about it. It just means that feeling it real. Once you have done your scene, don't do it more than a week. Like do it for a week max. That scene should really help you to embody the feeling of being. But the one mistake that many of you are making, even when you are very good at doing SATs, if you want to call it SATs, but you can very well imagine a scene before you go to bed without falling asleep right after it. Don't make a big deal out of that if you can or cannot. But what kills your scene, what kills your state, the state that you embody while you are doing the scene, is that the rest of the day, you go back. You go back to the old self. And as long as you go back to the old and you keep going back to the old, so let's say you imagine a scene, and that scene implies that you are the person that you want to be. And that lasts 20 minutes, 30 minutes, even an hour. Let's say you play with that even for a whole hour during the day. If for the 23 hours that's left and about the 16 hours that you are awake, you are back into the state of not being that person. You are back into the identity that is not the identity that you want to be in. That's going to win because your old habits, because they are old and you've been occupying this type of state for much longer, it's more natural to you. That's always going to win. So as long as you go back to the old, no matter what you are doing, even if you are doing what I really believe is the best way to manifest whatever you want, which is imagining, right, that you are that person. But it doesn't matter what you do. You could affirm all day long like a crazy person, or you could imagine every day. But if the rest of the time you keep being the old self, you keep identifying with that person who doesn't have whatever it is that you want, that's why weeks and months and sometimes years later, you tell me, well, I know the law about so and so amount of time, and I still don't have my desire. The thing is this, another thing that Neville said, your desire to change needs to be stronger than your desire to stay the same. Otherwise, you will stay the same. So if you really, really, truly desire to change your life, to change the way you see yourself, to change the way you feel about yourself, you have to push the mind away. You have to really be willing to kill the old man, to kill the old personality and let it die there forever. You have to be more in love with the person you want to be than with the person you say you don't want to be. If you don't want to be that person anymore, why is it that you go back to it? Ask yourself the question honestly. If I don't want to be this person anymore, why is it that I keep going back to it? And the reason why is that you are not able to detach from that person. Here is another word that is so mistaken, so not understood. Detachment, detaching. Detaching from your desire doesn't mean you don't want it anymore. Otherwise, if you didn't want it anymore, I'm sorry, but it wouldn't be a desire anymore. So when I talk about detachment, detaching from your desire, I never mean you don't want it anymore or you don't care if you get it or you don't. That's not what I mean. Detaching means detaching from the how, from the doubt, from the questions, and from thinking from the old personality. That's what detaching is, right? Detaching is trust, right? The other word for detachment, if you don't understand it when we say detachment or detach from your desire, is trust that once you have planted the seed, right? You have created an assumption or you have created a scene that implies that you are that person and you have practiced long enough that state and you feel that you really have embodied the state of being that person. Once you have done that, you detach from the how, the questions, the doubts, the need, and the want because you trust. You trust that it's done. Every time I manifest something, small or big, the key to my personal success when I manifest is the fact that once I decided it is done, I detach, meaning I trust. So I know that once I detach, meaning I trust that it's done, I don't need to think about it. I don't need to doubt about it. I don't need to question it. I don't need to do any of those things. What do I do instead? I just move on with my life. I live my current 3D as it comes, and I just know that it's done. And the less I think about it, the better. Because if I think about it because of the human, logical, rational mind, I may be thinking about how and when and where and all that stuff, which is messing with the middle. Once you know that you have planted the seed, trust yourself. Trust that God is your wonderful human imagination, as Neville said. So once you have imagined and felt that this is who you are, or this is what you want and it is done, trust it. Why would you trust your rational, limited ego mind more than what we call God, which is the human imagination? Why would you trust your little character, your little avatar that is not even able to manifest anything, as I said in my last video or the one before? It is not your character. It is not your little avatar. It is not you, Jane or Joe, that is manifesting anything whatsoever. The character cannot manifest anything. It is the I am. It is the God within that manifests. And the way it does, it's by imagining and feeling that you are that person. The power of imagination is what manifests, it's what creates world. Therefore, ask yourself the question, why would I trust more my ego limited mind, my ego limited self, more than my powerful human imagination, which is God? You see, when you ask me questions like, what do I do when I have negative thoughts, when I have doubts? That's what you do. You reason with yourself in such a way. And I hope that this video helped you to do just that. So remember, to manifest anything that you want, from opening an earring, right? Like I told you in my last video, I had a pair of earrings, an expensive pair of earrings, and one of them, I could never, ever open that thing, to the point that when I had them on, I would leave them on for months and months because I knew that it was going to be trouble for me to try to open this one earring that was always stuck on my earlobe. But when I got tired of this, I said, you know what? I am going to imagine that I am opening this thing easily. And I did that a couple of times. I imagined, and I didn't even lie down or sit down. I just did it like on my 2 feet. I just imagined that I was taking my earrings off normally, like any normal pair of earrings that you just open and close whenever you want. And then what did I do? I dropped it. I detached, meaning I didn't think about it. And you see, it didn't mean I didn't want it anymore. Of course, I wanted to open this thing more than anything that day. That's what I wanted that day, opening that freaking earring, right? But I detached from the need of needing it. I moved on with my day. And I did that for a couple of days until I heard a voice within me saying, hey, why don't you try to take your earrings off right now? And right away I did. And my earring, the one that's always stuck, just opened like never ever before for the past 4 years since I have had those earrings. So no matter what it is that you want, right? From opening an earring to a car, to a house, to a job or a relationship or health, whatever. Imagine that you are that person. Identify yourself with that person who has that. It's done. And then move on with your life. This is what we call detachment. You just move on with your life knowing that you have planted the seed. And then when you let go and let God, meaning you stop thinking, you stop putting your human, logical, rational mind in the middle, and you let the law do its job, you will, I promise you will manifest your desire. But not as long as you go back and keep going back to the old. So I hope this was helpful, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you like the video, comment and share the video if you know anyone who needs to hear this type of information. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.